Welcome to Tea Tips with me, Dr. T. On this segment, we're going to talk about coffee versus tea, my world-famous coffee tea, and of course that frost tea we all know and love, CapaTEAno. All the information on our podcast today can be found in my Ultimate Tea Diet book. Coffee versus tea. The main ingredient in coffee versus tea that we want to talk about is caffeine. Now, we know from prior podcasts that caffeine is put into our wonderful Camellia sinensis plant for one reason. It's not to shock Americans and wake them up in the morning. It is a self-defense mechanism, so when insects come to consume the leaves, they're thwarted by the bitterness of the caffeine that makes up the outer membrane of the tea leaf. Now, why is tea different than coffee when we consume it? Because tea is the only plant in the world that has l-theanine. And l-theanine is a non-protein based amino acid that actually cancels out caffeine's harmful effect on the system. I'm asked all the time, you know, Dr. T, I hear there's more caffeine in tea than in coffee. Well, how many beans do you grind to make a cup of coffee? When you brew a pot of tea, you're literally using this amount of tea. So that in and of itself tells us that the amount of caffeine in tea that you consume is far less than a cup of coffee. Now, at Dr. T's, I have created a wonderful coffee tea. What I've done is I've literally taken an oolong tea, which is a rolled tea, and we know about that from the prior podcasts, and I put it into a coffee roaster. Look at that color. It's just like coffee. I blended in a little bit of Japanese hojicha, Tahitian vanilla, and we have a fabulous coffee tea. Now, I've already pre-brewed some here, and when we take your coffee tea, you want to make sure to brew it a long period of time, and I'm going to make Dr. T's world-famous CapaTEAno. So, I'm going to take my blender that I have here, and of course, you know how to make a frost tea from our last episode, and I'm going to pour in our coffee tea right up to the ice line. And I have here a blend of agave with a little bit of hazelnut, because those of you that like CapaTEAnos know it has a little taste of hazelnut in there. So a nice shot of that, put on our lid, and you know, in a matter of 30 seconds, we're going to have a fabulous CapaTEAno. You know, the Dr. T exercise while we do the frost tea. Oh my God, look how beautiful. There's no dairy in here. And I have a special guest here today, and she's going to tell us what she thinks of Dr. T's CapaTEAno.
It's my favorite.
Can you imagine? 18 to 20 calories, no grams of fat, half a gram of sugar, and you can drink it all day. The recipe's found in the Ultimate Tea Diet. So please, put down that cup of coffee, pick up some tea, and make all the changes you want in your life. Stay tuned next week when we're going to talk about the world-famous pu'er tea from China.